So, hi, Leslie. I'm speaking with Leslie Ellis, who is from Heart Song Yoga and Coaching. You're based in Oregon, right? You
Mhm.
are working online as well as in Oregon. And you have been a yoga teacher, a yoga therapist, and you run a yoga teacher trainer. Oh God,
It's
I'm
a lot of yoga.
seriously impaired here. You run a yoga teacher training. Ha!
Yes.
Yes, I got it. And you've been doing that for a very long time, haven't you? Like 20 years as a yoga teacher and therapist, and then 10 years in the making of your teacher training. So
Mhm.
it's really lovely that you're wanting to share your experiences with us. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Happy to be here.
Great. So I would love for you to take us to that time right before you decided to join Invoke Your Clients Magic, our soul-based coaching certification program. Where were you in your life and in your
Mm. Yeah. It's been an interesting several years for me. I've made a lot of changes. I ran a yoga studio in Beaverton, Oregon for a number of years, and in the process of some big life changes, I got divorced and moved, and I decided to close my studio. Before that, in the studio, I was teaching a lot of yoga classes, running a yoga teacher training. I'm a yoga therapist and work a lot with people individually as well as in groups. When I closed the studio, I went solely to working one-on-one with people and doing the yoga teacher training. And my one-to-one work, I find that I am doing a lot of coaching in that work. And it kept coming to me like to do a coaching training. It's not that I couldn't do the coaching that I was doing, but I felt like having that credential could be really supportive for me in my business, and especially because I'm wanting to go online more. I have a number of yoga clients that I do see online, but it's not the easiest sell. You know, people think like, oh, yoga, the teacher has to be in the room with me. It's amazing what I can see online, um, and I have been working on how to articulate that to people. And I felt like the coaching might be one piece that people might be able to kind of broaden their perspective of what we might be doing. Because my ideal client is not somebody who wants me to teach them a bunch of yoga poses. It's really someone who wants to do yoga, which takes us deep inside. And when I looked at the coaching programs, the Invoke program, soul-based coaching, it felt like that was just such a perfect mix of what I was already doing and then a way to expand my skills and how to really take somebody in. Yeah.
work? Gorgeous. I love learning new things about you, even now. We've been
Mhm.
working together for quite a while, but
Yeah.
it's like gorgeous to hear more of the back pieces of your story as well. And so you were seeing Invoke and as a way of merging these, bringing these
Hmm.
together, and also being able to work online more. Were there any hesitations that you had about joining the program?
Yeah, I think one of the hesitations was that it just happens that we live in very different places in the world.
Mm.
And I feel so connected to you. It's hard to remember that sometimes that like we live so distant from each other.
Yeah.
Um, and the time that you were offering the program when I was really like keen to do it was 5 a.m. in the morning for me, which actually was a hesitation a bit, but pretty much an early bird, and it ended up not being there wasn't a downside to that really at all, other than getting up half an hour earlier. So,
Gosh, yeah.
yeah.
Well, I have to say that you are like I'm just so in awe of your commitment in doing that and showing up every time at 5 a.m. That was yeah, I like deep bow for you in being able to make that happen.
Thank you. Yeah, the early birdness probably helps a lot.
Mm.
I think the other hesitation, let me see if there were, of course, another hesitation is time. I'm very busy. I work a lot. And one of my main explorations the last several years with all these changes that I've gone through is how to not work so much. And so I felt like if I sign up for this program, that's going to add extra time and commitment to my days that could take away from some of the other things that I was putting in place. I decided to go forward because I felt that also that time commitment could be really nourishing to me as I was able to expand my business, and that definitely turned out to be so in more ways than I anticipated, because in part the amount of coaching that we did for one another in the program, and that was invaluable. That was just a beautiful part of the program, to be coached by my peers, all of us in this learning process. And the process is so rich that even as newbies, I felt like we did a good job really supporting each other and getting that experience of the coaching taking us inward. And in each moment of that, I kept getting this, yes, this is just perfect. This is exactly what I was looking for. This is so beautiful. I absolutely love it. And then going back to your question about hesitations, the other, of course, many of us have this hesitation about anything big that we do, was the money. And totally worth it. So I'm really happy that I made that investment in myself and my business, and I have no regrets about that. Thank you very much.
Well, you're so welcome, and it's been a joy to have you in the program, because I think you knew this already even before you said yes. I think that it was such a good match for you, and of course we had a conversation beforehand, and I felt very, very confident that you were in the right spot. But it's just really beautiful to see it work out so beautifully, even when we have these insights. It's like the actual happening of it is what counts, really. So
can I say something, Annie? Because that very first conversation I had with you, I mean, I'd been following you and looking at what you were doing and was very curious. And that very first conversation, you helped me shift something that was like just a way I was thinking about working with my clients, that even in that moment, that shift started the change of how I work with people. And I don't know if I've ever told you that specifically, but I feel really appreciative of it. Just one thing when we were talking about riverbeds and the flow of the river.
Oh, yes, goosebumps. I think I remember that conversation. Was that in the forest by any chance? Was I in the forest?
You were in your car with your dog.
That's it. It was a little time zone thingy happening. Yes. I remember that. But yes, sometimes that one conversation can be such a big start, such a jump start for what can happen next, isn't it?
Yeah.
Great. So, and you're saying no regrets. Could you share anything about how Invoke has changed your life, your work?
Yeah. In my life, I feel like the coaching that we did with one another and the additional coaching that I've done with you has helped to support very deeply some intentions that I had in my life, which were much around self-care and relaxation and not working so hard, like I said. And the process of the coaching is like so gentle and at the same time very potent. And there are some like images and metaphors that came forward for me in those coaching processes that I've been able to implement. And I have also now the capacity to kind of coach myself when I'm in a challenge. And so there have been several times when I've come up with a practice or a process that I can do for myself to support in challenging times. And I feel like I have this amazing community that I can reach out to for support as well. So big impact there. In my business, There's a deepening in the work that I'm doing with my clients, and I feel like, I mean, that's so exciting because I already felt like we're doing deep work. The individuals that I work with best are the ones who really want to dive in and explore underneath the surface. Like I said, not just the poses, but where the whole process of yoga can take us. And it's just given me a different way to frame questions, and also a quality of patience to kind of hold myself back actually from inserting a suggestion or an idea or even an image, because I'm quite intuitive and I would come up with images and metaphors, but rather than giving those to the client right off, I'm holding back, and it's amazingly beautiful what then emerges from inside that being that I'm sitting with, and how we can then explore that. And it just makes the whole process of working together richer. And yeah, and I've been doing a lot of coaching, soul-based coaching, in the process of certification. And I'm also using it in my yoga therapy and private yoga work, and even in groups where I'm working with the teacher trainers to that process of well, I guess bringing those different questions in.
Yeah. Mm.
Yeah.
Mm. Gorgeous. So both in your personal life and in your work, you're really seeing that deepening and really relaxing into those qualities that you were looking for to bring forward in your life and in your work. Oh, that makes me so excited, and it makes me happy for you and for your clients, because I know that you're already offering like great service to your clients, and I can see that this is only adding to that. Gorgeous. So would you recommend Invoke?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
who would you recommend it to?
Yeah, I think that there's a potential here for such a wide range of individual. I mean, someone like myself who's really already very deeply immersed in their work, and wants to expand what it is they're offering. Definitely in that kind of circumstance. I think too, though, it would be great for someone who is exploring, who's interested in exploring where they want to go in their work, or in their life. And oh, I had another thought starting to bubble up. Here it comes. Yeah, I think that someone who is really, I think this program actually is good for anyone who is working closely with individuals where there's any kind of interaction with the individuals that is a coaching type of interaction, whether that is somebody's finding themselves in their work giving advice a lot, or giving suggestions or guiding other people, teachers, that this work can, even if somebody didn't become a soul-based coach, this work can really help to influence how they elicit information and responses from their clients, and support them in sort of staying closer to their own inner knowing. And it takes, as a practitioner, it takes a lot of like the pressure and responsibility off of me. I don't have to come up with anybody else's answers. I'm just there to really hold the space and support them. I've always believed, and I mean, yoga takes me there, but this process is deep in that we have everything we need inside of us. And this very much proves that.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah. Gorgeous. Thank you so much for sharing your story. I'm sure that's going to be really helpful for people who are watching. So yeah, enjoy, Leslie. Very much look forward to hearing where you go from here on. Thanks everyone for watching, and see you soon. Bye.
Thank you.